the key things, the consistency, making sure number one that you're posting every day or as consistent as you can be. And then also learning what is your hashtag strategy going to be to figure out, which is a way that you can draw people to see the content that you have on your social media page. So that's just being able to do your research on different hashtags that you might want to associate with your brand. Even if it is, FYB, we want to say motivational speaking. We do hashtag motivational speaking. You can research that and look at other words that are related to that word that might have more likes or views that are associated to that word that will allow you to be able to draw the content to your page. And just having something laid out for you every single day that you can post to ultimately start getting more eyes on there. Because what Instagram specifically tries to do is, if they can see that they can profit off of your business, then that's going to be a way for them to say, whether it's through advertisements, anything that's going to be able to push your business out there. So once Instagram, the real ultimate goal is to have Instagram look at your business as something that they can profit off of.
All right, we're out.
In a bad spot because you're taking a person that may not be well in something and saying, all right, just do it anyway. And that can cause lack of effort, that can cause lack of results. And again, like when I was talking about accepting your role, it's hard to accept a role that you don't think is for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Right.
hard to say, you know what? All right, it's hard to buy into a system you don't believe in, or
Mm.
a thing that you think, especially if you look at somebody right next to you and you say, you know what? I think this is better fit for this person. So why aren't they doing it? Or yeah, you know what I mean? So when it comes to roles, and I think you kind of gotta figure out who's who. And the good thing about us, man, we've all known each other decade. You know what I mean? Like, so
Mm.
I know who I'm dealing with. I know who when the role comes in, I can already picture who it's supposed to go to without even thinking. Because I know my people, I know who I'm dealing with. And it's certain things that, okay, yeah, okay, put it like this. It may be 8 things for us to do, but 3 of those things, and in a perfect world, everybody would do 2 things. DT would do two, Steve would do two, D would do two, and I would do two, and that's 8. But it may be 3 or 4 things that I'm really good at. And it may be one of those things that D just is just not his thing. So instead of saying, you know what, well, we all gonna just divide it up by 2, and however it break down is how it break down. Nah, I'm gonna do these 4. And then D, since you got this one thing, make sure you put your 100% in that one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or Steve, since you got that, that's the that's what teams are all about. Steph Curry could easily say, "Man, I'm scoring all the points, man. Come on." But that's his role. That's his. So, and he accepts it. So yeah,
Mm.
I think that's the key, is knowing who you're dealing with and having people that's willing to be in their role all the time.
Yeah. Love it.
Yep.
And anyone got something they want to add to that one?
Yeah,
There you
I'll
go.
add something real quick. My fault, Reese. My shit was cutting out while you was while you was talking at the beginning, so I missed your first part. But just I think, you know, like Reese was saying though, understanding what people's strengths are. What are they naturally good at? Because naturally they're gonna be good at it, right? So you want to find the roles that people naturally best fit in, man. And I think I'm not saying you obviously want to get out your comfort zone to grow, but if one person is clearly better than somebody else in a certain role, why not put the person who's good in that role, right? Now, if all of us are equally good at something, then it doesn't matter who does it. If all of us are equally weak at something, it doesn't matter who does it. But try and figure out who has what strengths, put those in those roles, and start to fill the other roles out as they are needed. You know what I'm saying? So putting people in their naturally good roles first, and understanding who you're dealing with, I think, are the two of the bigger points to understand and how to define your role. But You're going to be a lot more efficient if you're putting people in roles that they're naturally good at from the jump and then figuring out everything after that. So that's all I got to piggyback on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I would want to add, to the end of that too is just I think what I learned, especially being a part of the fraternity, is watching how my leadership grew in that, and then I was able to translate it over into this, and it's really when you talk about how to deal with different personalities, right? Because we can conduct business in a room with you have a lot of different personalities, right? And sometimes with certain people, I was a lot of just someone not getting something done. I'm thinking this the I'm finna, what I'm saying? Like, because they not getting something done. That was the way I used to respond a lot, but I realized that what, with certain people, that's maybe what they respond to and they get stuff done. But there's other people where no matter how bad, the mistake is, you just be like, hey man, like A, B, C, and D, X, Y, and Z. And they get a lot done. You know what I mean? That's just being able to take the time out to figure out the different personalities and understanding that different personalities and different people respond to different styles of leadership. You know what I mean? Or different type of forms of communication. So I was kind of able to take that from the frat and apply it to this. And that's like where I grew in my leadership and how I grew in business a lot is knowing how to respond to different personalities.
Yeah. The kind of thing that's reigning in my mind, and I see you, Josiah, is equity versus equality, right? And but before I dive into it, I'm gonna throw it to Josiah just to make sure I'm not stealing any consciousness that you might be thinking about, and then I can wrap it up. But go ahead, and I'll come back.
Honestly, man, I'm about to use that as a wise word, equity versus equality. I'm not gonna lie to you. But one thing I would say is, and I know Reeves touched on this a little bit, is we were blessed that we were friends for a long time before we started this. And I think that a lot of times when people are working with business, especially if you're starting out your business, you want to get, people get whoever.
Oh, did he cut out on everybody? Anyone else? He did. Okay.
Dang, that was a bar coming.
I
felt
know
it.
it was coming. The internet wasn't even ready for that bar. It was coming.
Reese
Okay.
too.
Reese
He literally broke the internet.
literally broke the internet. All right. Well, I'm gonna start talking a little bit on the equity. Oh, here we go. Josiah's back. Try it again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry about that. I guess my internet went out a little bit, but so people tend to get, who when you're starting out a business, you're looking for roles to be filled, and so you say this person is good at this, so I'm going to have them be a part of my team. This person is good as that, so I'm going to have them be a part of my team. But if you don't genuinely know who that person is and how to communicate with that person, how can y'all actually have any type of cohesiveness? If you don't know that, then you putting them into that role. Yes, they're good at being the vice president, but maybe they're not good at being your vice president. So you have to really get to know people prior to placing them in a role. Even if they're $1 million company person, if they come over and they don't work well with you, if you don't have that positive synergy, then your company's not going to be successful because you didn't take the time to get to know this person as a business. This is why a lot of companies that have very high turnover, they do that because they think, oh, just because this person was good at sales, he can be a good manager. It's not true. That's not true. They were good at sales, and so they need to stay in sales. That doesn't mean that they can manage other people. So I just wanted to say that little nugget. But go back to your equity versus equality, because that was fire.
Oh, appreciate the lob all the way back.
Yeah.
But this kind of goes back to the thing that Reese said and the nugget from just DT's marriage, the fact that this is how I felt growing up, that marriage was 50-50, even when it came down to money. Like how I grew up in the household, like it was split right down the middle, 50-50, separate bank accounts. And it's like, I'm paying for this, I'm paying for that. And getting into my own marriage and learning like, no, that's not the best way to do it. Like, let's have our unified account. Let's pay for whatever you can pay for. And the equity piece came down to, not sure if this was Steve or Reese who said it, but you're good at great things, Sinclair, right? You're great at great things. I'm great at different great things. So we shouldn't be trying to split all tasks directly down the middle for our marriage or for the business, because that's not equitable, right? That's equal. We both have the same load, but it's not going to give us the best experience. Prime example, I'm gonna put you on bougie blast for a second. All right, bougie blast. Prime example, back in the day, we used to cook almost even, right? And I cooked some Alfredo, fellas. You know what I'm saying? I did my thing. It was some nice seafood, homemade Alfredo.
Ooh,
Hold
stop.
on. Oh, it's my story. Hold on. I was cooking it. I was doing my thing, right? And I gave it to her. I sat her down, whipped it up, and she took the first bite. And she said, "Hmm, is this store-bought jar
This makes me
Alfredo?
sound so bad.
Is 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 this jar Alfredo?" And I was like, yeah, that's how else you make Alfredo." She was like, "I can't eat this." I cannot eat this. And we literally did not eat that Alfredo. And that wasn't the last time I ever cooked, but that was the last time that I cooked with any type of consistency. Apparently you can make Alfredo from scratch, some butter, some
Apparently,
some
like,
Parmesan cheese, a little bit of cream. I now know the recipe after some years. But when I was growing up, jar Alfredo, Prego, whatever it is, was good. That was quality. But getting into the marriage and learning kind of her beautiful, amazing, melanated, slightly bougie taste buds, now it's like, okay, you're gonna cook because we know the quality is gonna be way higher because you are literally better at cooking and you are almost a professional chef, and I will do the cleaning. Right. So now it's equitable to where we're doing what we're semi good at. I don't know if I'm good at cleaning, but I'm willing to clean. Right. So I love that nugget, whether it's in a business or it's in a marriage. It's not about putting in equal effort. It's not about putting in equal tasks. It's about doing what you're best at and putting in what the team needs and make it a equitable relationship rather than an equal relationship. Um,
I think the other thing, sorry, I think the other thing to consider too is that it changes. It's
mhm.
not uh stagnant.
Yeah.
Does that mean okay? It's not stagnant, right? It's going to be at this point in time, it makes sense for me to cook more. But there
Mhm.
might be a point in time, I don't know, when I'm carrying children or whatever, where I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm not cooking.
Yep.
So this is you, or we gonna order out, or whatever it is. And the load sharing is always gonna be shifting depending on what the situation is.
Yeah.
Finances, there that also changes, right? Depending on what job, what income we got coming in. I may be able to carry this. Okay, well, now I'm not, I quit my job. So now we got to rearrange some things.
Yeah.
So there's always things you always have to do, reassess the situation and figure out, okay, at this point in time, with this current situation, how are we going to, share the load? How are we going to create equity within our marriage and within what we have to do so that we get what needs to be accomplished within the household. So I
Yeah.
think that's another thing to keep in mind is that it's always going to be stagnant and it's going to need reassessing. Just because it is this way, it doesn't mean it's going to be that way every day for the rest of your lives, for the rest of the marriage. It always is going to need some reassessing.
Facts.
Ooh,
Same with
you dropped some fire. Woo.
So this is the first time we're with Fire Your Boss. And if you're just joining us, we are with _Fire Your Boss on Instagram. Definitely follow them. Check out the Ivy League podcast, which we're about to talk about in a second. But definitely tap into the positive energy and the wise energy. But this is the first time we're talking to FYB after you FYB'd.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely fired my boss. That's for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out. That's some dope stuff
Thank you,
right
thank you,
there.
thank you.
Love it. So I want to get into the Ask Declare segment really quickly. Ask Declare is an opportunity for our guests, any of y'all, to ask a question of us, whether it's about the marriage and love journey, about the business journey, or the health journey. So I'm going to pass the ball over to y'all court to get into the Ask Declare. Oh, Josiah got one off the top.
He said, I have it.
Yeah, now I know. Can you just talk about, how important the consistency has been for you all. And I'm not just talking about the consistency as far as what people see, but the consistency as far as what people haven't seen. I know that you all have had, some success with the Play Black Wall Street, the board game. I remember seeing you post, I think it was Master P got a chance to look at it and whatnot and things like that. And a lot of people see that. It's like, yo, yeah, this is dope. Go ahead. Right. And I kind of equate that to like the championship, right? You winning the championship and everybody's celebrating the success that you had. But what they don't know is how many different times you had to go to different events where other people were at, where you had to present the Play Black Wall Street, the board game, where maybe that those people weren't popular, maybe those people weren't famous, but you still had to invest in that. So can you just talk about the importance of the consistency behind the camera and behind the microphone as opposed to being in front of it, and how that's helped you all?
Oh yeah. So I got two board game examples just off the top, and then Queen, feel free to come on in and shoot your shot too. But for the first one is we were in an incubator program when we were trying to get the game off the ground, right? And this was, just board, like, again, ground level. It's just an idea at this point, and we were the only Black team in the first phase. We were the only Black team to go on to the second phase, and we were the only team that was making something specifically for the Black community. Josiah, every single week when we had to present the idea in front of mostly older white men and a few kind of Indian or Asian folks as well, the number one question was, does the game have to be called Black Wall Street? Right. So when we're talking about consistency, having to go back every single week to a room full of people who don't know the history of Black Wall Street, to a room full of people who don't care about the Black community, and to fight for just the name of the idea. And I cannot tell you how much money we've lost just because we wouldn't change the name.
Mm.
Right. And that's, I think, just ground level consistency is how true are you to the vision that you have, right? How unwavering are you with the dreams and your character that you have, to where you can say no to a check, or you can say no to an opportunity, you can say no to a mentorship just because of a name of something, or because they want you to post the fight videos, but you're like, no, like that's not in our character, that's not in our brand. But they're like, we'll give you $20,000 if you post a, and it's
Right.
like, no, you even got to stay consistent with your character. So that's number one. Number two, the first season of Dreamcatchers was sponsored by, quote unquote, sponsored by Black Wall Street, the board game. So I was traveling to Atlanta, LA, parts of the Inland Empire, like literally going around the nation on basically my own dime, because it was sponsored by our own company. And then when we would get there and interview people, I would put the game, set it up in the background. They're like, "What is this game?" And I was like, "Oh, it's Black Wall Street, the board game." She's like, "What is that?" So be able to explain that, but that got the game in the hands of some people starting off. And this was back in 2018, the first edition of the game, and it also got it on YouTube, and it got that kind of consistency on YouTube a little bit as well. So I would say, yeah, that consistency is paramount, but it gets difficult when maybe you're putting up your own money, or when people are dangling a check in front of you, and it's like, ooh, if you just take this slight pivot, we got you. And you have to just really stay down and stay true to what your vision and what your character is. Queen, you got anything on consistency?
Yeah, I think the addition I have would be the podcast as a great example,
Yeah.
right? This is episode 94.
94.
Right?
Oh,
94.
in here. Come
So
on.
we've been doing this for 2 years, and being very transparent here. We've talked about sponsorship, and pretty much every time we talk about sponsorship is Black Wall Street, the board game, which you all know is our own company, right? So we do this. We don't yet have sponsors. That is something we are working towards. But we do this because, as you were talking about Josiah earlier, like we do this because we would be doing this anyways. right? And so yes, we do hope that eventually we can make a living off of this, and we can get some sponsorships, right, with companies that align with our message.
That
So
aren't ours.
that aren't ours, that we don't own. Yes, we hope that that is a in our future, and we are working towards that, and making our strategy, our business strategy with our team. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
At the beginning and every quarter is like, hey, how can we position ourselves to start making some money with this podcast, right? But I don't think the average person, when they think about starting something, thinks like, I'm gonna be 100 episodes or more in before I
Mm,
actually see some fruit from the labor of this project or this business or
mm,
whatever. And so I think that it's very important to, like you said, find something that you love and that you would be doing regardless. Because if we were in this for the money, we would have quit this a long time ago. We would have
yeah.
quit this on episode 9, right? And we were like, hey, this is a lot harder. This ain't no money in podcasting,
Yeah.
which is not true, right? But you have to put your stake in the game. You have to grow. You have to be consistent. You have to grow your audience. You have to grow your listeners. You have to find your strategy, right? You have to do all of these things that only comes with time and consistency. So I think that that's been one way that we've made sure to one, just make this something that is fun and something that fits with our lifestyle. Again, this is stuff that we would be doing anyways. This is information that we want to put out to the community and to folks anyways. So why not make it part of our business and part of something that can eventually, again, support our financial goals and bring us some bacon, if you will. So yeah, I think that that's something to keep in mind, is you have to do something that you love and that you will be okay doing for a while, because you don't know how long it's going to take, right, to for the fruit to come. So you have to choose to do something that you can do for the love of it and for the impact
Mm.
that you're making, rather than the result of, or the fruit or the money that is going to come from
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. And that was turkey bacon or tempeh bacon, in case y'all are wondering.
it.
Yeah,
No pork.
yeah, no swine over there. Oh, cool. Any other Ask Declare questions before we start talking about Ivy League? We good, we good, we good.
I'm a pivot a little bit to the relationship side of it. You know what I'm saying? I see y'all, y'all got y'all connection, and just by watching how y'all interact, you can tell it's real. You know what I'm saying? You can tell it's real. You can tell you guys are like intertwined and locked in, right? When did y'all know, like when did y'all know that y'all were the ones for each other? Can y'all kind of just do a little bit, touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll dive in first, Queen. Do your thing. I'm gonna say two quick moments. First moment, I would say when we first met, right? So we met in 2011. We both went to Davis, and y'all know how y'all know how when you scoping it out, right? You with your fellas, it was me, it was Daniel, it was Jacob, Bube. Like we were all just like looking out, like, okay, this is what college is about to look like. This is what the girls looking like. All right, it's looking good. And I was from jump. I was like, boom, right there, that one. Yep, I'm talking to that one. No one else. Jacob, stop. No, Jacob, stop. That. Mm-mm. I'm gonna talk to that one. It was just literally just like looking at her, watching her. Like it was just a vibe that I got that I don't know how to describe. And then we got together in an icebreaker where they were like, "Oh, get up and meet somebody, or do bingo, find someone who lived in the IE, who dances, is an engineering major, XYZ." So she got up, she was looking lost, like, "Oh, who's gonna be my partner? I don't know." And I stood up, I was like, "I'm gonna be your partner. Come here, girl.
Come here, girl.
Come here, girl." So that was number one, just like looking at her. Number two, and that there's a few emotional moments, but I want to highlight. Nah, I'll highlight the emotional moment. I was gonna go the funny route, but I think truthfully the one that happened was when I lost my cousin freshman year of college. Um, Yes, Queen. Thank you. My cousin got shot freshman year of college, and it was like right before Thanksgiving. Didn't have money to go down because I'd already paid for the ticket for Thanksgiving. So I was like, and I was broke in college, so I couldn't go back. So yeah, just getting that phone call, and then literally not knowing where to go. And at this point, we weren't together. This was Thanksgiving, so we weren't together. We were just friends, but we lived in the same dorm building. So I literally just like walked out of my dorm, went to her room, knocked on the door, and we didn't say any words. I just walked in, gave her a hug, cried my thug tears real quick. Still no words being said at all. She didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. We hugged for like maybe 2 minutes, and I just left. It was that was literally all that happened. I feel like in that moment, like a month later, we finally started going out. But I feel like that was one of the moments where I was like, all right, she can be my rock, right? If I need somebody, if I am going through my trials and ups and downs in life, no words, like she'll be there for me to support me.
Oh,
Thanks, man.
got you. For me, I don't know. I don't know like a specific. Now I do know one that is coming to mind, and it was it was actually the first time that you said "I love you," but it was something that triggered in my mind afterwards that I didn't even realize. So we were sitting in one of the conference rooms, whatever, in the dorms, and so we got together on December 23rd, and we were I don't this was sometime after that, and I was sitting there talking, and then I was like, "Da, da, da, da," and I was like, oh wow, like I didn't realize like for the rest of our lives, like we're gonna be able to celebrate our anniversary the day before the Christmas Eve. It's like Christmas Eve. Like, oh, that's so cute. And then he looked at me and he goes, I love you. And I was like, oh. But in my mind, it was like I didn't even realize that I just said for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even put that together in my mind because it felt so natural. And we had only known each other for a couple months at that point.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm thinking about the rest of my life with this man after a couple of months really did mean something. And I didn't even like that was something that I like reflected on later. I'm like, oh wow, that was so cute. Cause I feel like the I love you kind of like overshadowed that. And that was our first time exchanging those words to each other, which was obviously very, very special, a special moment. But as I was reflecting, I'm an introvert, so I'll be reflecting on everything I said and did at the end of the day. So I was like, oh, did you really say for the rest of your lives? Like, wow, you really said that. Okay. Shoot, he must be the one. Like, this is crazy after a couple months. Like, dang. So that was definitely one of the moments where I was like, well, here we are. This is it. This is the start.
Love it. Love it. Good question, Reese. I see you. Come on now. I see you. Okay. I don't know how to possibly pivot back to Ivy League podcast after that. I usually try to do my darnest. I try to do my darnest, all right. But but I think something that we did talk about in this conversation was just doing stuff that you love, right? Whether it's doing stuff that you love and specifically with the people that you love, right? Your friends, your brothers, your family, right there. And I think one of the things that y'all, do together on a consistent basis is the podcast. So can we talk a little bit about the Ivy League podcast, how that got started, and what are the topics that y'all are really trying to tackle and cover in the podcast? And Steve, I didn't forget about you for social media. That's going to be that's going to be the last thing right there because I know people are waiting for it, right? But Ivy League podcast, what are some like just the vibe that y'all are going for that? I'll go ahead, Josiah. I see you.
I think for the podcast, really, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. We always had podcast conversations prior to starting the podcast. I think that we just kind of all said, hey, listen, we think other people need to hear these important conversations. I mean, we've talked about a lot of stuff from gender to Black community to minorities to education to this is conversation we've had prior to starting the podcast. And I think we was just like, there's so many other people who needs to hear, young Black men who are trying to be successful, who have an elevated and educated mindset, who are having these in-depth conversations. People need to know that this is happening, and I am hoping that people can have some input as well too in some of the things that we say. So eventually we was just all like, yo, let's do it. Like, let's just, put our monies together and get this equipment. And I'm not gonna lie, we didn't know anything about podcast equipment when we did it. So we was ordering stuff from Amazon and sending it back because it was the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? Like we sent it back a couple of times, different things like, dang, this mic don't go with this, equalizer. So we got to send, all of that stuff. And so we really just wanted to make sure that we had those conversations for other people to see that intellectual Black men, young Black men, are thinking on a higher level. Now, we have had a variety of different topics. We've talked about relationships. We've talked about sports, of course. We've talked about we've talked about just a variety, businesses and things like that. And so it really just kind of depends on what the vibe is like for us, And that's the beautiful thing for us is that we don't allow what's going on in society to just dictate what we talk about. And I think you all have that same thing, having a podcast about health. Well, if there is Antonio Brown just walked off the field, with no shirt on, that doesn't matter. You're still going to talk about health. You're going to talk about what specifically works for health. And I think we have that same perspective as far as what we as the Ivy League, what we want to bring to the table. We're always going to, don't get me wrong, there are times where we can utilize what's going on to help build on top of that. But we just wanted to make sure we have these conversations as intellectuals. So that's just what I wanted to put out there. I don't know if anybody else has anything else they wanted to add.
Yeah, I mean, I can jump in there. I mean, just kind of just building off what Joe Spider was saying. Like literally, been having these conversations for years. Only thing we're doing is recording the conversations we would be having if nobody was around. And I think I talked about that earlier when we just talked about like helping people become the best version of themselves. We believe that the podcast is just another element of us doing that. You know what I mean? We've had conversations about relationships or mental health, and I think we do try to target things like that a little bit more in those topics because as a community, Black people, we don't talk about it enough. Yeah. Like we need to have conversations like this and to make it aware to people of what's available out there to them or why it's important. Or what happens a lot, and especially through our Wise Word Wednesdays, is someone else figures out that I'm not alone, that there's other people who feel this way too, or that struggle with this too. And I think the podcast is a big part of that, where people go, hey, like, I didn't know that Steve had experienced that, or that Steve had felt that way, or that, Josiah felt this way, or that DT had this experience. I had that same experience. And now we're able to provide context from someone from their perspective that could possibly impact somebody else's life. So I think it tackles a lot of different elements, but I just think it's just organic conversations between intellectual Black men being recorded. But for us, it's so easy for us to talk about these things because we've been doing it as just as friends for years, literally for years. So
Love it, love it. And I just noticed we recording the longest TH4 podcast in history. I love it. I love it. This gonna be broken up into part 1, part 2. Let's go. Shots. But I wanted to go over because I know we talked about a little bit the podcast. Why Word Wednesdays have been mentioned. So if somebody can talk a little bit about what is Wise Word Wednesdays, if this is their first time hearing about it, and what are the other kind of pillars or arms sectors of FYB that people don't know about. I don't know if there's I think DT said something about some fashion earlier, but what are the other arms and tentacles that y'all got growing or that are already here?
Hey, Reese, you go talk about the Wise World Wednesdays, and I'll jump into the clothing.
You see the way my man's technology is set up. You might have to do both.
All right, so I'll go into no D. I want D to do the Wise D or Reese to do the Wise World Wednesdays. I want them to do that, and I'll go into the clothes.
Morris, you ready?
My bad, my internet clicked out. I didn't hear anything. What happened?
Yeah, so I said I wanted D or Reese to talk about the Wise World Wednesdays, and I want to talk about the clothes.
I've been talking a lot, so I'm gonna let Reese go.
Okay. Reese is back. Go ahead, Reese.
So, So I mean, Wise Word Wednesdays is just something, it I feel like on social media, on the internet, you have a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? And you have enough people talking about fight videos, you have enough shade room, you have enough um things putting spotlight on, negativity. And so when Joe Spider came up with the idea, when he came to us about it, it was like, man, we need to balance it out. We need a balance. We need a difference. We need to show something. And at first, we making the Wise Word Wednesdays, and we're doing it. We're doing it for social media, but we also doing it for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We want to promote positivity. We want to, you know, that's what we represent. But once it started taking kind of a life of its own, and that's why it's so important to make sure you love it, because yeah, it's cool that we get more views, we get more people involved, but with that comes more responsibility. It comes more consistency. It comes more. So as far as Wise Word Wednesdays, just basis of it is taking the day, taking the time to just say, hey, today we're gonna talk about something positive. Today we're gonna do something, or we're gonna say something that may motivate you, that may help you, that may, push you and give you some positive energy, because people go through many different things throughout their day, and you got 6 other days where, it may be hectic, it may be hard, it may be this, but come here and watch this 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute video, and hopefully we can give you that energy to get through another six. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what the basis of Wise Word Wednesdays is. And now that we're, getting more attention, getting more people paying attention, we're kind of elevating and kind of revamping it. But for right now, we just want to keep it to, man, every Wednesday, come check us out, come get some positivity, come get some love. And it's going to be all different people from, you know, our goal one day is to have every every person from any walk of life do one Wise Word Wednesday.
Mm.
That's our goal, because anybody, and like the key to that, and what we're trying to push is that no matter where you from, no matter what you look like, we all go through some sort of the same things. So yeah, that's kind of Wise Word Wednesdays. I can go on and on about it, but I'm gonna let DT, touch on the other part.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a dope one, man. That's kind of how we started getting into podcasting too. That was a segue. Wise Word Wednesdays was like a staple into us speaking positively. And what a lot of people don't know is it led our brother Demars to, being a champion for a public speaker in Sacramento, and
That's
open up the door for him. You know what I'm saying? That's another big thing that a lot of people don't even know. Like, he is technically speaking professionally at different events and things. You know what I'm saying? All because of Wise Word Wednesdays, man. So that's dope. But one of the things we wanted to do also, like, all of us are all into clothes. So we've had a couple hat drops, clothing drops, you know what I'm saying? And FYB has transformed. I'm not even gonna go into the history, but what we foresee with these clothing drops is that, like, for example, the Justice tees. We took the Justice tees, sold those. What a lot of people don't know is we created a scholarship from some of the proceeds there, and the goal is to create dope clothes of the highest quality that people can rock. But what they're also doing is providing a scholarship to a minority, somebody who's getting ready to go to college, somebody who's already into college. You know what I'm saying? And that we want to grow the brand, with the podcast, Wise World Wednesdays, and clothing, because people can contribute and give back to the community as well. So we'll take these clothing drops, which are going to be dope clothes, and from those profits, we'll be able to generate scholarships and give back to the community. $1,000, 500, 2,000, 10, whatever it is, we're going to be able to create something for somebody else that they can benefit from. You know what I'm saying? So I can't give away all the secrets, but that's the ideas that we have. And those are the things that we are doing and that we have done. You know what I'm saying? So generating income to give back into the community, man.
Love it. Love it. I love that social entrepreneurship, right? As
Mhm.
y'all make more money, y'all give back more money and put people in different and better positions. Love it. You you were about to talk about it, right? The history of FYB, and if you feel comfortable, I think it's a good business lesson for folks to know kind of the history of FYB, what the original brand was, and how y'all pivoted that brand, right? Kind of shifted it to kind of be similar, but kind of appeal to a different audience or a wider audience. So can you talk a little bit about the if you're okay with it, the original FYB, what it was, what it stood for, and then why you may have made that decision to pivot?
I guess I'll kind of talk about this. For us, I think we started off when with FYB. It was forever yanking bands. And really it was kind of exactly what it sounds like. It was just a bunch of young brothers coming together saying that what we trying to do. We try and get some money. You know what I'm saying? We try to get some money. And throughout, and don't get me wrong, we were making money. We were selling hats. That's when these hats that Steve and I are rocking, those when we created those, and that we were moving hats and making a profit. But I think that when we really decided, when we realized how far we can actually go, with the idea of what we want to do, not necessarily what the name is, but what the idea. We said, can we really sell Forever Yanking Bands to a corporation?
Mm,
Can we take Forever Yanking Bands to, yeah, we know we can take it to a high school and kids will love it. We know we can take it to a middle school, kids will love it. But can we take it to a college?
mm,
Can we take it inside a corporate office and say, listen, we're trying to help teach you how to be successful? And Forever Yanking Bands just doesn't flow the same as Fire Your Boss. Now, there are people who are like, who came up to me, was like, dang, so you want to fire your boss? Like,
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, and I have to tell them, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, your goal should not be to work for somebody else forever. Your goal should be to work for yourself. And you can partner with other people for as long as you need to partner with them. So, we came up, when we kept talking about different things, we were talking about just having bands and things like that. But ultimately, we knew that, like, what we were trying to teach people was more than just get money. We
Yeah.
were trying to teach people a way to be self-sufficient, a way to understand how powerful you are as an individual, the fact that you have the power to determine how successful you're going to be in 5, 10, 15 years. I talk about this a lot, and I think Steve has mentioned this as well on our podcast as well, that we're not playing a right now.
Game. We playing forever. That's what you about to say? Yeah, yeah, I picked that up. Uh-oh. So I really wanted to bring that up, and if he comes back, he'll be able to finish that thought. But because I feel like there's young men, young women
Oh,
just
everyone, can you hear me? My
there we
check.
go. We can hear you back. All right, you were saying you're not just playing for right now. We can hear you. You ready to jump back in? Not yet. Okay. Let me know. Just give me the little think thumbs up, and I'll throw it right back to you.
Yes.
All right, DT, you good over there? Cool. Steve, you
Yeah.
good? Okay. So I wanted to bring back up just the concept of having your original team, your original squad, right? Your FYB team. And I think there's groups of friends out there that got their crew, right? Their friends that they maybe get into trouble with right now, or their group that they always go to parties with, their group that they make t-shirts together. And I love the fact that y'all made that slight pivot to legitimize the business, right? That slight pivot to be like, all right, this is what we're doing, but how can we take this past just our friendship? How can we put this into corporations, into colleges, into schools? And I love that mindset because that's something that we kind of also did with TH4. TH4 is something that us in the squad we had during college as well, right?
Mhm.
All the homies were putting up TH4. You can come through the house, get your haircut. We had our social events. You can come get food. It was a whole vibe. And as we were leaving college, we were like, how can we still keep the the brand and the feel of TH4, but grow it with us. So that's where True Health Forever comes into play, where it's still TH4, but now living our best life as adults looks a little bit different than what living our best life in college was like, right? But it's still the same goal. We're trying to live our best life. It just shifted. And I think there's a lot of people out there, a lot of friends that have goals together. They just haven't determined or sat down and have that maybe slightly awkward conversation of what are we really doing, right? With this friendship group, where do we see ourselves in 10 years, and how can we come together and legitimize what we're doing to get us to that destination? So I want to kind of end with Steve giving us some strategies on social media, because I feel like no matter what business you're in, whether it's a podcasting business, a health business, clothing, motivational speaking, literally any brand that you're building, you need some type of content strategy, right? So can you talk through a little bit the either the current or just tips that you have for people that are trying to figure out, how do I promote my brand? How do I create? How do I get more followers? What's your strategy or your takeaways, Steve?
Yeah, just being transparent, it's still something that I'm ongoing to like learn myself, being in this position. But what I have learned is, sticking to the key things, the consistency, making sure number one that you're posting every day or as consistent as you can be. And then also learning what is your hashtag strategy going to be to figure out, which is a way that you can draw people to see the content that you have on your social media page. So that's just being able to do your research on different hashtags that you might want to associate with your brand. Even if it is, FYB, we want to say motivational speaking. We do hashtag motivational speaking. You can research that and look at other words that are related to that word that might have more likes or views that are associated to that word that will allow you to be able to draw the content to your page. And just having something laid out for you every single day that you can post to ultimately start getting more eyes on there. Because what Instagram specifically tries to do is, if they can see that they can profit off of your business, then that's going to be a way for them to say, whether it's through advertisements, anything that's going to be able to push your business out there. So once Instagram, the real ultimate goal is to have Instagram look at your business as something that they can profit off of, because that's what's going to allow more people to be able to get, eyes or footwork to your brand.
Yeah. That's a good nugget right there, right? One, make sure you're using strategic hashtags, but I like the follow that you said. Like, Instagram is a business,
Mhm.
YouTube is a business, Twitter is a business. So the more that they perceive that they can make money off of you, unfortunately, the more eyes they're going to put on you, or the more money they may be able to pay you through, like YouTube, where you get maybe the ads and all that good stuff. So good stuff right there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. I feel like we're gonna need a round two, or if we're invited to the Ivy League, we can continue this conversation over there. But this has been arguably, if not for sure, the most holistic conversation podcast episode we've had, right? We've talked about marriage and black love, talked about friendship, we talked about college, we've talked about just expectations of people, teamwork, equity, equality, like literally, I think we've hit every pillar that we could have hit as far as True Health Forever goes. So we appreciate you fellas for coming in, shooting those shots and dropping that wisdom. Can we do one last round of like some brief wise words from everybody as you're parting, something that you really want to make sure our listeners get from either you as an individual, or something that you really want them to get from you as FYB? We'll start off with Josiah over there. Hopefully you're good to go. No, we'll shift it over to DT over there. Hopefully you're good to go.
Yep. So I'm gonna go with my normal slogan, man. Keep it simple. A goal without a plan is just a wish, man. I'm gonna keep it at that.
Nice.
There it is. Create that plan. He said have a business plan, right? As the GM, he's responsible for making sure the FYB has a business plan. So get your plan together. Steve, what you got for us?
Yeah, appreciate y'all just for having us, man. Before I leave, obviously we do like to shout out the black-owned brand. So of course you see I'm rocking, the FYB, one of the originals. I'm also, if y'all can see, I got on this. It's a black-owned sporting clothes brand called Actively Black. I have a whole sweatsuit on. You can't see it, but I forget the dude's name, but he's a former NBA player, and he happens to own this brand. A lot of known players like Steph Curry, Draymond, all them all support his brand. So I definitely want to shout this one out. It's called Actively Black. I just want to make sure that I'm just leaving everybody with a nugget. Dedication. We talked about that. What's going to separate you from being successful or unsuccessful is doing the things that you need to do to be successful, even when you don't feel like doing it.
Mm. Dedication. Love it. Again, this is the Fire Your Boss team on Instagram. It is underscore fire your boss. Go ahead, give them a follow. Follow the hashtag Why Word Wednesdays and tap into the positivity. All right. Appreciate y'all. We're going to do a little bit of updates on our side. If Josiah or Reese come back, just I'll see them waving and we'll add them to see if they want to give some updates. But we'll do some. Oh, Reese, you ready?
Yeah. What's the okay? What I miss?
Yeah, we're good. We're doing parting wisdom, right? So as our listeners are wrapping up this episode, this record breaking episode right here, go ahead and leave them with a piece of wisdom.
One thing I can leave, the people with is, man, make sure that when you have a plan, you willing to execute that plan, even when you tired, even when it's not fun, even when people are telling you that you should switch, change, whatever it is. A dream deferred is still a dream.
Mm,
Make sure that everybody and everything around you is either in unison, complementary, or out of your way,
mm,
because everybody doesn't have to be on your same type of time, but they also shouldn't be taking up or blocking the time that you need to create your thing. You know what I'm saying? And also, especially, this is something that just me personally, when you are creating a life that you've never seen or that you've never had, you have to do things that don't exist yet. You know what I'm saying? So, and be okay with being the first to do a lot of things, because depending on what realm you in, depending on where you going, it's gonna be lonely. It's gonna
mm,
be lonely, and you got to be okay with being the only person that believes and understands what you're trying to do. That's
mm.
all I got, man. I can go all day with it, but that's all I got. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all. Much love, for real.
Much
Thank
love.
you.
Love it. Stay dedicated. Again, go follow underscore FYB. Much love to the Kings. Queen, what you got for us? Updates. I know it's been a good week, I think, for us. Go ahead. Let them know a little something, something.
I
Talk
don't
to
know
them.
if there's something specific you're thinking that I'm probably going to forget, but yes, we have launched our new weight loss program, Queen to Queen. So if weight loss is one of your 2022 goals, I'm your gal. We gonna help you figure out exactly what you need to be eating and not eating, how you need to be moving, how you need to be reducing your stress, how you need to be sleeping. It is a very holistic program. And yes, so when we also have a free webinar where you
Mhm.
can learn about the 5 things that every woman should know about weight loss. So that is this Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST. You can go to my Instagram, the Health Nerd with 3 E's, or you can go to True Health Forever. And we have the information there on where to register to sign up for the webinar. If you're interested in the coaching program, you can go to queen2queencoaching.com.
There it is.
Keep it short.
One more time. Queen, the number 2, queencoaching.com to go ahead and get your health empowered. Boom. There it is. Thank you, King Jair. The thing that you got your next health client.
Oh,
All
yes.
right.
Yes, I did.
You got another health client in here. Go ahead, do your thing, Queen. I see you. For us, this was a beautiful and powerful week. We came up to Sacramento / San Francisco. We were supporting the Rare X fashion show that went through yesterday. It didn't go the way it was supposed to go in our heads, but it was still a good vibe, good event. For those that don't know, Rare X 10% of proceeds do go to foster youth. We got some Rare on right there. I see Reese. Josiah has some Rare on as well, to believe in yourself. So it is a family affair for sure. So definitely go to theRareX.com to get your stuff. What else did we do? Oh, we recorded a semi-documentary for Rare X, just kind of following the vision and the dream. Dreamcatchers season 1, episode 4 was Markel, and at that time, Rare X was just an idea. He was graduating from college, wondering what he should do next. So it was a dope follow up to come back 2 years later, and he has a brand that's really taken off and exploded within those 2 years. So it's dope to kind of see that vision full circle. We also visited a bookstore in Oak Park, Sacramento called Underground Books, and they've been one of the bookstores to purchase Black Wall Street, the board game. So it was dope to just pull up on them, surprise them, be like, "Hey, what's up?" The owner of the bookstore was there as well, Miss Johnson. So got to just connect with her and just show our appreciation for them purchasing the board game and showing love. If you haven't been, if you're in Sacramento, go to 40 Acres right in Oak Park. Go to Fixin's Restaurant. Go to Underground Books. It's a dope way to circulate those Black dollars. Or if you're looking to support more Black businesses, especially in February, and you're in Sacramento, go ahead and head to 40 Acres in Oak Park. All right, that's all we do for today. Queen, it's been a good one. FYB, we appreciate y'all 100%. Thanks for coming through and shooting with us. Please stay healthy, stay wealthy over there, Kings. And of course, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to another amazing and impactful episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we shall live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
We hope y'all stay healthy. We hope y'all stay mentally wealthy. And of course, we hope y'all stay true.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast. We hope you learned something valuable that you can take and implement into your life. Now, we've all heard that sharing is caring, and this podcast is no exception. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a stranger walking down the street, anybody who you think can level up from this message. As always, we appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you next week. Be well.